physical wealth. Hello, hello, hello. Today is July 14th, 2025, and it's a long day. Sorry I'm so late. I really appreciate all the subscribers, all those people who are newly subscribed, um, and those who have always been faithful and loyal to watch the video live and recordings. I really appreciate the comments too, because I'm telling you, sometimes I don't know if you're getting it. So if you're not getting it and I'm speaking in real plain, I can find another way to say it. But anyway, I just want to say today's show is called Stop Lying. Whew, that's big, that's deep, because it's in various episodes I've led up to this. So I'm constantly trying to find new ways to say this, these things, these messages. So bear with me if you heard it already. But a lot of times we're seeing a need for mental health. So this is my effort to help with mental health, to also help people to realize that mental health is physical wealth. It leads to it. I've been writing about it in academia for well over 10 years, and we're starting to get it now since I've been going live. And I appreciate everyone's unique way of going live and talking more about mental health and making it more of a relevant, trendy type of modernized idea, conversation, and even social media piece. I love this platform because a lot of times people, they need to hear from individuals, and it's difficult to access those people because, you know, ethics groups and things of that nature that keep us kind of compartmentalized, to say the least. And it makes it more difficult for anybody to understand what's really happening, what do people really need, what's really going on. So I really greatly appreciate a lot of people going out there in their different ways and saying, yes, mental health is a major concern. And it's also a major hindrance in many ways to making the kind of wealth that we as investors, consumers, stakeholders, stockholders, shareholders, we want to see these things, and we're not seeing it. And we're like, well, why aren't we financially benefiting? Why aren't we getting the finances that we are projecting to have? What's going wrong? Well, mental health is one of those nuances in the various studies throughout these years that's been really pushed under the rug, because everybody's like, well, we don't have time for that. We don't have the money for that. That don't have anything to do with our organization and our organizational goals. That doesn't have anything to do with how much money we're making. It has everything to do with how much money you're making and what's going wrong. So please feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, ring the notification button, because I know I'm late today. I have things going on. Life keep life. And I'm just saying, I got to do what I got to do. And I use this time as my volunteer time. So I volunteer when I can. It's not like my job. Y'all pay enough, it'll be my job. I'll be on time. Okay. Hey, Eddie, I appreciate you coming. Remember, please comment in the comments, people. Don't leave me out here hanging, just rambling, you know. So one of the things that I want to talk about, I see a lot of times in social media, we're seeing these people going online. I don't like to say a particular community of people because everybody is doing it. Okay. So I'm not going to target anybody in particular, but I am going to say I can see a lot of videos from white people who are saying, well, Black people should be able to communicate with us more effectively, to reach us and tell us what we should do, how we should do it, warn us about various things. And I've concluded that the reason why they don't understand what we're saying is because a lot of times people want to be called by their name. Certain communities have a way of communicating that's different than others. So you have to understand those cultural gaps. And that was the importance of DEI, especially in the workplace, because it allows people to understand. It gives them safe haven to understand how to communicate effectively with one another across cultures and genders and other barriers that keep everyone divided. And it causes this mental health concern because it disturbs people when they can't communicate with you, when they want to communicate with you, when they want to get along with you, but for whatever reason, they cannot get along with you. So it's important that we talk about it. We keep lying about these different titles, and it's like, what? Stop lying. DEI was not intended to give anybody an upper hand, more so than it was intended for the purpose of making us more cohesive when we're working together, when we're trying to build together, when we're trying to relate to one another and understand, oh, that's why you do what you do. Oh, that's why you have these, things that you do the way you do it, and the reason why you move the way you move, and why you migrate when you migrate, or why you plant particular seeds in particular locations or not. It's like, this is nothing new under the sun, because a lot of times people feel like, oh, we've never spoken about these things before. The fact of the matter is, we have spoken about these things for generations. I always wondered, and I hate doing that, because whenever I wonder about something, it's like God go out of his way to take the time to show me why, what's the answer. So remember, there was a part in the Bible where Jesus had lingered with a community of people, and they were like, well, Jesus, you always speaking in parable. We don't understand what you're saying. Everybody else understands what you're saying, but you didn't tell us that same thing. They're prospering. They're having generational wealth, but we're sitting here wondering when you going to talk to us. Jesus, like, I was talking to everybody when I said what I said. But see, even then, those people felt like they have to have their name called out, particularly, specifically John, um, Karen, Lily, Libby, whatever the names are. They feel like they have to be called by name in order for you to be talking to them. I always wonder where those people went. Apparently they all migrated to America, because America is always saying, oh, they're pointing a finger saying black people didn't tell us, black people should have told us. But the matter of the fact, all of those viral vines of people pointing the finger, you're lying. And that's creating a temperature. That when they go out and they take the temperature to see where people are right now, it's sending a false message. Just like when people were lying about the word woke. Okay, they said that woke was something that had nothing to do with exactly what it was. And everybody was like, well, when is anybody going to realize what the word woke means? Well, we're in the FAFO season and the era where everybody is fooling around and finding out. So people can no longer ponder, oh, are you talking to me? Yeah, we're talking to you. So when people were marginalized in their communities, and white people were telling other white people, don't worry about those people because we're marginalizing them, but it's not, it has nothing to do with you. That is not true. But they allowed that lie to be told because it made them comfortable, because it was the people who are in their skin talking well, not in their skin, but the color of their skin, and they're using their name in particular, where they'll say, well, no, John, this is not going to happen to you because we know you, John. You're a good man. You're a good man. And because you're a good man, well, this will never be your problem. Well, Paul, this will never be your problem. Well, Willie, Dick, John, it'll never be your problem. And it was a lie. It doesn't matter if somebody calls you by your first name, look like you, or if they know the community that you live in and sit at your table and broke bread with you and drink at the club or go to the bar and have a drink with. It doesn't matter. The matter of the fact is you have to be wise enough to understand that despite people saying your name specifically, the message belongs to us all. So the lie and the dog whistle used to lie, a lot of people, like for example, Trump isn't even using the dog whistle anymore. He just coming plain on out and say he cursing left and right, especially because he's like, forget all that. I don't have time to be PC. I don't have time for public relations. I don't have time for any of those dog whistles or anything. I'm too old to care. I'm just going to say it's a bunch of boop, boop, boop. And they don't even censor it when it first come out. I don't know if you're watching it, but I am. Sometimes I'm not gonna say I'm watching it all the time, but a lot of times whenever I do watch it, it's not censored the first time Trump says it, and I like that, because don't censor what he's saying just to dog whistle it to me later, and then I'm supposed to only hear the part where you're dog whistling, and it's messing with my mental health, because I don't understand if the message is coming from Trump or if the message is coming from you. So we need to stop lying. We need to stop lying as though, somebody saying something that just let it be plain. Let it speak plainly. A lot of times people are saying, well, because Black people are so, they were the first ones who encountered these problems. They should be able to tell us all what to expect and how to do, how to live through it. A lot of Black people are saying, we have told you. I know myself. I have written about it over 10 years in academia. And after most recently in 2024, I wrote this book. It's called Generational Wealth, Information Asymmetry, and Your Success. And in that book, I do ponder. I say, what's going to happen when white people finally realize that the people who were really being victimized was white people? I'm not saying that marginalized communities are not being disproportionately targeted to be victimized. What I'm saying is, a lot of times, you know how you could be in a group of people, you have in school, okay, let's do school, because everybody's gone to school at some point, and you're going to the same school as your sibling, and you just get into high school with your sibling, your older sibling, and you all are surrounded by different groups of people. Suddenly you'll get a knock on the back of your head. Your brother is right, or a sibling is right there behind you, right? And you look around and you're like, who hit me in the head? Who hit me in the head? And you're pointing a finger at everybody except your brother. Think about this now. Think about it. Nobody else knows you. Nobody else cares to single you out among all the other people in order to knock you in the head. But you will listen to your brother tell you, I don't know who did it. It was probably that person over there or that person over there. And every time he points the finger at anybody but himself, you believe him. So now he realizes he could keep knocking you in the back of the head and lying to you, telling you that somebody else did it. Anybody else did it. And you'll keep believing, maybe because that's your brother, he looks like you, y'all belong to the same community, y'all is from the same household, whatever. So clearly he can't be victimizing you, but he is. And then later, somebody in those marginalized groups in your surroundings sees your brother knock you upside the head so many times that it's not even funny anymore. So they tell you, look, your brother is doing that to you. I don't understand how you can't see that that's your brother when that's the only one in arm's reach distance with you that can even reach you. Via redlining, we can't get to you. Via police in the states, we can't get to you. So the only person that's knocking you upside the head has got to be the person who knows you best and lives with you and know it has reason to hit you in the head, knock you around and make you feel the way you feel. We don't know you. So that person says, well, why didn't you tell me before that my brother was doing that? It's like, that person says, that's not my business. It's no way possible that you didn't know that that was your brother, because nobody can run past fast enough. Nobody can get out of your marginalized redlining community fast enough for you to not know that that was your brother hid and wronged you or did whatever it was to harm you. But you'll believe that because he pointing a finger at everybody else. You got to stop lying like that. You got to stop lying like that and blaming everybody except for the person who is justifiably owed the finger pointing. That's why people's mental health is messed up. So then, instead of you having this wherewithal to ask your brother, why are you doing that to me? Now you fed up. You can't take no more. And you feel like that person made a fool out of you. So now you have to retaliate with a stronger force of violence and in retaliation. And it's like you turn around and you kill your brother. And it's like your brother, as he's taking his last breath, why'd you go so hard? You didn't have to do that. I was just doing that because I was just joking around. It was funny. And I was trying to stay popular with the other popular kids. And I wanted to show you, break you in and show you the ropes. But now you've taken the opportunity away from me just because you went too hard, because it broke your mental health, your mental well-being, because you kept listening to me lie to you. Now you can't take no more. And now you've come to this fatal conclusion to end it all instead of working it out by talking it out and rationalizing, why would you do this to me when I look like you? We literally come from the same mom and dad. We literally come from the same household. We literally live together. Why would you do that to me? You should have asked that before you went all in and went straight hard. But a lot of times people can't control what's going to happen when they have that mental break. They can't control it. But if you stop lying to people, you don't understand what happens when you lie to people. When you lie to them, you are in sense causing a dramatic break. It's like a dam, and you're piling all of those lies all into one dam. And eventually, because no one ever works on a dam, we know that from Katrina, no one ever works on the dam, and you're still piling in, and then somewhere out of the blue, we have a big old flash flood where it rains for 30 days and 30 nights, and the dam breaks. And it's a total catastrophe, complete chaos. And you never saw it coming. Nobody ever sees it coming because you're not listening. We're telling you, but because we don't look like you, we can't reach you. Because we can't cross the red lines, we can't talk to you. Because we don't talk and say your name when we speak, you can't hear us. Because we're not sitting you down, petting you on the back, holding your hand and saying, I'm talking to you. Can you hear me now? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Though it's difficult to hear, you can't hear us. So when you have a lot of people out here blaming anybody else for what you failed to hear, and then you wake up and you don't have your federal job, you don't have your pension, you don't have your farm, then you want to go out and harm other people who have a farm, who would rather you ask for help than you to bring your tiki torches over and try to cause them harm because you don't have a farm anymore. They tried to help you. They tried to reach out to you. And now, because you don't have a farm, instead of you going over and saying, hey, my brother, hey, my sister, I don't care if you're white and they're black. They don't care either. Approach them like they're your family, because they are your family. It's you that's keeping it separate. So stop lying and saying that it's anybody else, because the very people that look like you are lying to you. And you're coming to realize that you woke and you can't go back to sleep, because you understand that generational wealth. You understand that it's not just your life, it's the lives of everybody you love who are also being lied to. And this is why when you come to that realization that you've been lied to, it is in total chaos. It's a fatal explosion, because you just can't take anymore. You don't trust them anymore. You don't want to hear anything else. You don't want to be bothered with anything else. And heaven forbid you give them another opportunity to lie to you again. I get it. I understand. But you have to understand this. When you lie and say that Black people haven't told you, when you lie and say things that twist the narrative to different vocabulary words, such as what is it? Black fatigue. Stop lying about that. Black fatigue is exactly what I'm telling you. How we African Americans or people of color or marginalized communities are constantly dealing with this passive aggressive behavior that's only subjected to us, people of color, Black people, who we shouldn't have to deal with it, but we do on a regular. And we just keep smiling and keep on pushing, deal with you for as long and as much as we need to, and then we move on. Why? Because it's nothing we can do. We can't help you. You're not listening to us. So we definitely can't help you, and you can't hear us because you refuse to hear us. And then when you get to the point where you're like, well, somebody should tell me, somebody should have told me. We did. And that's that Black fatigue. We're getting blamed for things that we didn't even do. And we love y'all through it anyway. We forgive y'all through it anyway. And forgiveness doesn't mean we forgot. Forgetting is a totally different thing. That's Alzheimer's. That's dementia. That's some other actual problems. We don't forget. Just because we forgive and love you through it, we realize you're human. We recognize it. We're like, okay, I understand. I understand social behavior, trying to get along with the people who are in your surroundings. I get it. But you also should understand that if that's the way you have to act or behave in order to get along with the people that look like you, maybe you'd be better off with people who don't look like you. Maybe you'd be better loved with people who don't look like you and would rather not treat you in such a way that will make you behave in such a manner. A lot of people are coming to that realization now. And they're saying, well, okay, we hear you. For example, there was a TikTok where a white woman said, "Oh, Black people, I tried this whole Black showering thing, and now I'm seeing the benefits of it. But can you explain the nuances of it?" And everybody's in the comments like, laughing and, but they're still trying to help and trying to tell them, but in a joking manner, and using levity to keep everything cheerful and happy and, carefree, but meaningful, and not in an accusational way, because everybody don't know. Everybody is not on board with pointing the finger in the wrong direction. But when too many people are seen pointing the finger in the wrong direction, then it gives that person or that group of people more motive to victimize. For example, I really wish it was an American tradition for all schooling to teach how the Western civilization was built and created from Martin Luther King and Calvinism, how they decided, well, there's labor and there's intellectual labor. And These are the two things that's separating us, that's making us the 1%ers and everybody else. This is what we should be talking about, not the color of your skin. The color of your skin don't have nothing to do with anything, but it was used as a method to divide and conquer. And it wasn't to divide and conquer the marginalized communities that's commonly marginalized, but to marginalize the very people that look like them so that they will be controlled. So there's white people who are using these barriers, these false barriers, in order to control other white people. So that's why you don't feel comfortable asking other white people to help you out. Instead, you pointing the finger at the black people, telling the black people, you should tell us about these black showers. And you pointing the finger at the Mexicans, talking about, y'all should tell us about that Mexican laundry that y'all do. You pointing the finger at everybody but the people that look like you who's supposed to be helping you. Imagine that. Now you see what the mental health problem is there? The disassociation between who you should be pointing the finger at and who actually you're pointing the finger at. And it's like you can't rise above where you are right now without coming to the conclusion that you need to stop pointing the finger and be more loving and accepting of the people that don't look like you, and expect and hold the people accountable that do look like you for you not prospering. It's not black people. It's not Mexican people. It's not nobody but the people that look like you, because America was founded to be a melting pot. It was a lot of colonizers who came over here where there were people of color already here. And they said, well, the people who were already here, they said to the colonizers, they was like, yes, we could help you. We will join together. And you know what they did? You know what they did? They took advantage of that love and that welcoming, united type of behavior. And what happened was they felt like they learned everything that they could from them. Then they put their own name on it and taught it to the rest of their people. And they silenced the voices of those people who told them, who taught them. And then when it came down to telling their people what they learned, they compartmentalized the information. That's that information asymmetry that I'm telling you about in this book. And that's what you really need to talk. You need to know information asymmetry and your success. Get the book. Lulu.com, LULU.com. Go get the book. Don't pay more than what Lulu is asking for it, because everybody else is asking too much money. But go to LULU.com and get that book. The information asymmetry is what they're capitalizing on and lying to you and telling you whatever they think they can, and they're getting more money out of it. They're getting more money out of it because they're compartmentalizing the knowledge when they should be sharing the knowledge. And then they tell you in little bitty pieces. And then when you say, well, I tried everything you said, is it anything else? And you say, well, yeah, that's finally all that I can tell you. And especially after you drain them of their resources and you have all the revenue for the business that you created out of compartmentalizing information that should be forthcoming. Anyway, so then they're like, well, it's a flood coming and it's going to kill all the crops and we'll starve. And then you're like, well, you're scratching your head and like, well, man, this is what those Native people told me. The people who were originally on this land for generations. This is what they said do, but you silenced their voice. So they could not tell you everything, because they couldn't tell you, oh yeah, that land you on right there, it's gonna flood. Every 10 years it floods over there. Like, man, why didn't you tell me that before? Well, it didn't come up. Oh, and before it came up, you silenced me because you felt like you didn't have any other need for me and you wanted to put your name on my homework. This is a generational problem. And because a lot of Black people don't feel like they have to keep fighting for it, because who they fighting? They fighting a bunch of white people that want to covet everything and call it their own and relabel it, brand it, and then sell it in increments in order to capitalize off of their own people. When do that make sense? This is why we're seeing the cognitive dissonance that I talked about in the previous episode. This is why we're seeing the woke that we all kind of sit there and watch everybody mess that up, twist that narrative. And now we in the FAFO and everybody fooling around and finding out, waking up. And it's like, what's wrong with people's mental health? Well, that's what's wrong with people's mental health. You done played with them so much, they done snap. The dam is broke. And there's no way putting that water back in there. You just got to rebuild the dam. And you better not build it on false substances that's going to eventually break long before it can hold back any kind of water, because you want to use materials that don't mean nothing, have no value, have no sturdiness, no strength, no ability to rely on it. Yeah, let's talk about that. I know this is a little difficult for a lot of people to understand, so I'm trying to make it as plain as possible. But those who have a better education, you understand what I'm saying. You're building a foundation on more lies. Telling people, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to pat you on the head and tell you, yeah, okay, now that you're on board with, some of the marginalized communities' behaviors just right now, so you can survive right now. Not so you can thrive, but so you can survive these difficult times. That's those false materials. That's those materials that don't have any substance to it for longevity. So don't act like, for example, during the civil rights, it was a lot of white people who joined Black people. And during Civil War, it was a lot of Black people who were joined by white people. But it didn't last, because that finger pointing thing, all that misdirection, all that lying, twisting of the narrative, compartmentalizing information only to fleece it out so that you can take advantage of the people who look like you, selling it to them for high marketed prices when the information should be forthcoming. Then you tell them the people that's holding them down are marginalized communities. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? These marginalized people don't even have the ability to create red lines. They have a whole thing they call gentrification, because you kicking them out of their property, and once you do, you buy up their property for pennies to the dollar. Then you sell it. You literally sell it to other people that look like you for a killing of a fortune, so you could capitalize on their ignorance. And then when they wake up and they say, hey, you took advantage of me. You look like me, but you took advantage of me. You sold me these things that you got for pennies to the dollar because you took it without reason, underhanded. And then you sell it to me for all this money, knowing you taking advantage of me. And you're supposed to look like me. You're supposed to be my friend. We're supposed to work together. You're supposed to love and care about me. But you took advantage of me when you were supposed to only take advantage of them. Why'd you do me like that? And you can't justify it. Only thing you could do is keep pointing the finger at people that you already pushed out of the picture, with your redlining, your gentrification, with all of these laws that keep changing in the middle of compliance from those very marginalized communities, so that you could continue to say it's their fault. They're the criminals. They're the outlaws. It's their fault. Meanwhile, you were the one who did it. And they know it. And it's nobody else around that they can blame. Everybody else is gone. It's just you, people that look like you. Let me tell you how it's clear that this doesn't work. This particular business model, this particular business plan, this particular methodology of civilization doesn't work, because I've done studies that's been overseas and national. And a lot of the studies come from organizations that everybody in that organization looks the same. They're all Asian, and they're all Chinese. Okay, everybody speaks Chinese in this organization. Everybody is Chinese and mostly male, because the women have different types of jobs. So they, via mimetic morphism or mimetic isomorphism and absorptive capacity, copied a business plan that they thought was successful, and they implemented it in their organization. But the origination of the business model was derived from America, because America is the lead in the economic trade and global trade and things of that nature. So they take that business plan, because these organizations that's too big to fail in America, that was the business plan that they had, which created all of this wealth. So they said, okay, they overseas, they was like, okay, we're going to follow that business plan. That's why we hired a businessman to be president in America, right? So let's keep listening. So they took that business plan, they implemented it in China, in this Chinese organization. So they didn't realize that this business model has flaws in it, which was only specific to keep out marginalized communities that were being, those people who were being marginalized in America, such as anybody of color, anybody who wasn't white. Okay. But they put it in China, and it was like, well, everybody looks alike. So how are we going to implement this business plan? And they did it. And what happened was, all those people that look like them, they were like, you are immoral. We look like you, and this is how you treated us. You treated us like somehow we were a part of a marginalized community, and you took advantage of us. And then there's a whole uprising, and the organization fails. Why? Because that business model does not work. That business model does not create generational wealth. It actually steals the ability for anybody to ever have generational wealth. And you may ask, well, how is that possible? Well, because nobody likes to be victimized. Nobody likes to be lied to. Nobody wants their mental health played with. And then for you to tell them, oh, well, it wasn't you. It was them. And they're looking at you like, them who? There's nobody there. It's just you and I. And we look alike. And now I know where you live. I know your family, because I'm your neighbor. Because I look like you. We all in the same neighborhood. We all in the same states that succeeded from the other states where those people are over there somewhere. It doesn't work. It does not work. That kind of behavior doesn't work, because when you have the mentality that tries to make such a division, and they try to make it seem as though it's a dog whistle, and they don't know how to whistle. Yeah, that part. You don't know how to dog whistle. So when you're trying to dog whistle, when you get it wrong by messing up the vocabulary words and twisting the narrative to try to suit your changing laws, even in the midst of compliance, see, that's when everything starts to fall apart. Because when you start lying, you got to keep lying in order to maintain the lie. And it just doesn't work. It all starts to fall apart. Now you having some struggles with your mental health, but not more than the person you're victimizing and the person that looks like you. And that happens to be one and the same person. And it's like, man, now you don't have nowhere to go. You can't go to that community because you've become known as somebody who's going to victimize. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So now you're alone. So that's why we need to understand what the lie is. The lie is not a skin color. The lie goes way back to when Western civilization was first created, between what Martin Luther was saying that it should be, with everybody getting paid, and we all getting along, and even though your intellectual ability may seem to supersede our physical ability, but without our physical work, your intellectual work is not going to put a roof over your head. It's our physical work that's putting the roof over your head. And Calvinism, who says, nope, the 1%ers are the only ones that's going to get paid anything. And you're going to do the work like we tell you to do the work, regardless of what you think, because we're going to think for you. We're going to tell you what to think. And when you stop doing what we tell you, we're going to turn everybody against you. So you'll be alone and isolated until you come back and kiss the ring, and then start listening to what we tell you to do again. These are the only two. These are the only two things that matter. And a large part of the reason why that's not widely broadcast is because a lot of people fall into the part where everybody wants to get along, more so than the nope, we're the 1%. We can think better than you. We have the highest IQs. We have the highest income. We have the highest bank accounts. We can, even though it's only a few of us, but because we're more intelligent, we have more materialistic properties. We are more powerful than all of you. All of you. But that's not true. And a lot of people are waking up to that fact, because no matter what these two groups think, facts can't be stifled, and facts are not on either of their side. The fact is, there's no division that's ever going to be successful, because it's going to disrupt your mental health. It is not feasible mentally nor physically for people to be separated and divided, because it takes a village. It takes a village in order to maintain, in order to thrive, and to even just barely survive. And without that, it's total chaos. It's not enough 1%ers or Calvinistic mindsets for it to work. It just won't work. If it could have worked, it would have worked long before America was colonized. If it would have been possible for it to work, it would have done so long before America was colonized, with the mentality that Martin Luther mentality of, let's all get along. Let's have a melting pot. We're going to get together and we're going to learn from one another. We're going to help build one another. We're going to learn what's the best of the best from each one of the cultures, each one of the levels of understanding. And we're going to build on that. We're going to lead the rest of the world in understanding. This is what it should be in the first place, because that compartmentalizing, taking advantage of people, that mentality doesn't work. And it's never going to work. No matter how we relabel it, no matter how we rebrand it, we just got to stop lying and saying, well, now, we're here and the 1%ers are on the top in the leadership position again. So let's go back and revisit what we already know don't work. And let's rebrand it. And every time anybody comes around and try to say things that sound smart, let's change the narrative. Let's twist the narrative. Let's make it so that no matter what anybody else says, we get a bunch of people repeating the ignorance of it. So we know we still got them. Still got them. They pointing the finger over there. Got them. Oh, woke don't mean you realizing that you've been lied to. Got them. Oh, black fatigue means something else, not the fact that black people are tired of the passive aggressiveness that they deal with simply because they are black and they deal with a whole bunch of stupid stuff, racism, and being pushed under while they smiling in white people's face like they don't know what's going on with their lived experience. That's not black fatigue. It's something else. It's something else. It's black people being tired of ignorant black people they call the N-word. Nope, it's not that. We tired of all of that stupidity and smiling and shucking and jiving with y'all saying, yeah, oh yeah, honey. And then we go about our way and we tell our people they don't even understand and we don't care. We're gonna walk about our business. That's what you all are coming to understand. And they don't do you no harm. They just smile in your face and say, okay, all right, honey. That's where you're going to go. Nobody is going to keep chasing after you because you're going in the wrong direction and you're accustomed to people chasing after you saying, hold on, baby, you're going in the wrong direction. All the while you still heading in that same direction while somebody else is chasing behind you. Oftentimes one of the marginalized community people chasing up behind you saying, hold on, you're going the wrong way. It's danger that way. Don't go that way. And you looking back at them, giving them that side eye, continuing to go in the wrong direction. And what happens? You get into a situation where that person is the one get hurt. Why? Because the enemy, they already got you. They want the one that they ain't got. And that person ends up disappearing and nobody hear from that person again. Then you turn around and say, oh, maybe that was the wrong way. Let me run and go back and make sure I go back just enough to get another person who's going to have it in their heart, be too kind-hearted to let me go the wrong direction. And then I'm going to make that person follow me over here too. And they going to follow me and constantly tell me I'm going in the wrong direction. And I'm going to go in the wrong direction because that's where I'm destined to go that way because I like the attention. Because I like to point the finger at you and say it's your fault. You should have told me. You knew I was hurting. You knew I was going the wrong way. You saw it. You could have helped me and you chose not to. Now you should feel guilty. You should feel shame. No, nobody gonna run up behind you anymore because we tired of the folks that chased after you and we never heard of them again. And their life was cut short. Their voice was silent too soon because they were chasing behind you because you refused to act like you understood what you clearly understood. You decided that you wasn't going to behave in the manner in which everybody could just get along. And now you don't feel any type of way. You don't feel shame. You don't feel like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that again because it's temporary. It's temporary. You say it for the moment in order to get through the moment as you running back to go get somebody else who's going to fall for the same trap. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's doing that anymore because everybody is realizing you're not going to listen anyway. So why waste time? You have to come to the realization that if ain't nobody chasing behind you to get you, you're going to come back over here. And then when you decide that you're going to continue to walk on that path in the wrong direction and you look back and you see ain't nobody following you, you're going to stay. When the next time you come back, you're going to stay. You're not going to keep walking over there because nobody's going to follow you. That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now when you say, well, where's all the black people at? Why are they not saying we're not chasing after you? You're going to have to stay here. You're going to have to stay here and continue to get the love, support, and help instead of constantly running back into that same drama, them same lies, the same finger pointing in the wrong direction. That ain't helping nobody. It's not helping you. It's not helping your mental health. It's definitely not helping your ability to gain wealth or to even sustain the things that you have. A lot of times people, they feel like they'll lie so that they can keep their job. Oh, what's a little lie in order to keep your job? Well, if I tell this lie and I act like I'm going to get along with them, then I could get a promotion. Then I don't have to lie anymore. Then you get the promotion and now you deeper and now you get this bigger house, this more expensive luxury car. Now they know they got you. And now you have to keep up the lies because the original lie you told can't sustain itself without more lies. That means you cannot sustain the wealth that you created and generated from the lies you told. So you got to keep lying or you'll lose everything. But there's an alternative. If you were to just look at how Black people do, they fed up. They won't do it. They're not gonna lie. They're like, I'm not lying to you. This you said this in the business meeting, and that is what I did. And you want to fire me, then fire me. But you can't hold me, and I'm not gonna hold you. So what you gonna do? And they get fired, and guess what? They thrive anyway because they already realize that ill-gotten goods don't last. Why? Because you told a lie. You're going to have to tell another lie, and you're going to have to keep lying in order to sustain anything you have, or you'll lose everything. And the alternative was let it go and build on something that's lasting. Build on something that has some true value that's going to sustain itself. So not only you are able to survive, but you can thrive because it's a solid foundation built on facts, reason, logic, and clear understanding. Even if it's like we still got more to learn. We still have more to learn. But what I'm not going to do is keep lying like I don't understand that these lies are going to end up costing me everything. These lies are going to cost me everything. So I'm just not going to do it. For example, when they saw that the Black farmers, they were these subsidies that were created so that Black farmers could utilize that so that they can survive and even thrive as farmers. But those people didn't get the money. The white farmers got it all. And the Black farmers, they was like, okay, before you lie to me and tell me you're going to help me, let me just figure it out by myself and make it work on my own. And because they did that, they're in a position where they don't have to say, oh, I'm going to keep lying in order to sustain what I have. And vote in a way that's going to be against my best interest. And then have to keep lying or lose everything. Your lies didn't save you this time. You still lost everything. And you can't understand. Well, did you understand when the laws were changed in the middle of Black people complying and it was changed to make them seem as though it didn't matter? Yeah. Should have been paying attention because that's what happened. Now, to you as white farmers, in the midst of your compliance of lying and voting against your best interest, you sitting there in a situation where you have to realize that no matter how much you lie, no matter how much you go along with people who are telling you to lie, those lies are not going to sustain you so that you can thrive and have that generational wealth, let alone sustain that generational wealth. Now you losing something that you had for generations, maybe one or two generations. But, ill-gotten goods don't last, and it was ill-gotten. But at least you had it. It could have made good on something, so you have something, but you have nothing. And then you turn around and say, I'm going to even go deeper in the hole and go cause people harm that would otherwise actually help me. Instead of pointing the finger at the people who deserve that finger being pointed to them and all of that aggression, you're going to go out and hurt or try to hurt. It might not work out for you because the NRA, they made sure everybody's well equipped. because they're part of that 1% who's selling some goods, and they don't care who they sell it to. And they want to make sure that them folk not only have the structure, but they have the means to sustain that structure. If you understand what I'm saying, they don't just give you the gun, they sell you the bullets too. Then they sell you all the ammunition you need that you can afford to purchase. And a lot of people just, well, they got a whole stockpile in their house. Remember that woman, little old lady, Sandy Hook, and that young man, everybody was asking, well, how did this young man on the spectrum get hold to so many weapons and bullets? And how did he get hold of that? His little old mama had a whole armory in her house. NRA is not concerned with who's purchasing any of these things. They're also not really too much concerned of how people are using it either, because that wasn't their purpose. Their purpose was to sell the products. Their objective was to sell the product. And because the business model is really compartmentalized to only focus on that organizational goal, they've accomplished their goal. They ain't got to worry about anything else. It's generating money. And the more you point the fingers in the wrong directions, the more guns and ammunition everybody's going to buy. So that's really helping that business thrive. Oh my goodness, I wish I had stock in it. I'm just saying, because I can't even imagine how much money they making in such a time as these. But you have to understand, there's a better way. There really is a better way, a more sound way. You don't have to be fatalistic. You don't have to feel hopeless or hapless. And yeah, I put it in a book, and it's a really good book. Generational Wealth, Information Asymmetry, and Your Success on lulu.com, lulu.com. Go get the book. It's telling you about some other things that I wrote in academia that you can get for free. And if you Google my name and you know how to get that get access to that writing that I wrote in academia, you can see where I went and what I wrote and everything. And you can see how it is creating wealth for everybody that's implementing those ideas, those methodologies, and how that intellectual property is actually creating wealth for organizations that are implementing it. Now, I do some things that's not in the spotlight unless somebody is, is celebrating me along with them with their success and crediting me for it, which never happened but once in the public eye like that. But because I've done it where it wasn't in the public eye, I'm trying to show you on social media so that you can get access to it and benefit from it as well, because mental health is a serious concern right now. And you need to understand there's a better way. There's a better way. And I put it out there so anybody that wants to know can find it, and not necessarily pay an arm and a leg to find it and to have it and to utilize it as it pertains specifically to you. Now, I'm just one person, so I can't save the world, but I wrote a book, and everybody that put their hands on that book and use it to cater to your needs, you will prosper as well. And if you go and get my academic writing and read the things that I wrote, that's going to help you just like it's helping everybody else who used it. And those people who I've helped in my personal business practice and got them generational wealth for their families, now you can have it too. It's for anybody to have. But you have to want it. You have to look for it. And when you get it, don't behave like these people who have behaved in a way that is shameful and almost unforgivable, that someone has a really loving heart and says, let's just work through it, before they mentally snap and make all these other kind of decisions. That's why it's important for us to talk about this mental health and address it, because we don't need to be snapping. We don't need that. It's a better way. And the pandemic took out so many people. We can do this better than what we're doing it now. And we can all thrive. And we don't have to eat off somebody else's who ain't here no more because we took them out for taking what they got. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to do that. We don't have to be crabs in a barrel. And even the way they say that is wrong, because when crabs are in a barrel and they're climbing their way out, they emit a poison that kills everybody because it poisons the water, and it poisons them too because they're not immune to their own poison. So they all die. Did you know that? Did you know that crabs in a barrel was said wrong? I'm just saying, we need to stop lying, because every time you say something that is a lie, the temperature gets taken that says, oh, okay, we still got them. And we endure even more hardships because they realize, gotcha. That's been my time for today. I appreciate everybody that stuck with me. And please like, subscribe, and share. But more importantly, ring the notification bell, because I don't like doing this by myself. Make some comments while I'm live. Say something. Let's get some banter going back and forth. Call me out when I'm online live. Don't try to say something in the comments when all we can do is comment from my comment to your comment. Do it while I'm live. I'm just saying, I've seen some comments and some recordings, and you dare not come when I'm live streaming, but you can see I'm live streaming. I'm just saying, I'm just to help me, just a little woman. Come on, say something while I'm live. That's all I'm saying. That's a small request. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, remember, mental health is physical wealth. See you next episode. Mental health is physical wealth.